right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Arctic blast. The transition to bitterly cold weather this weekend comes with rain, then snow and wicked winds, where the snow and wind could be a big problem.
They vanished without a trace. The search tonight for several missing people, including children, and the possible connection to a spiritual cult. Our top story, a shocking fight between a student and teacher caught on camera.
She really couldn't talk. She don't understand why. She was crying.
Tonight, the 65-year-old teacher's loved one says something needs to be done.
That fight unfolding earlier today in front of a crowd of students at Normandy High School. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. Tonight, school leaders say they are working with police and conducting an investigation of their own. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon is learning more about what led to the violent confrontation.
Take a look at how a student drags a 65-year-old science teacher who's already on the ground. It appears the teacher tries to restrain the student as the student kicks and throws blows. It happened outside of a Normandy High School classroom Wednesday. The veteran teacher taken to the hospital shortly after.
Is she in pain? Is she okay?
Oh yeah, she's banged up pretty bad. I'm at work and I get this video. She was circled up.
Greg Stanton says his significant other told police a student left class and eventually returned to get her book bag. When she told the student to wait, he says the student pushed past the teacher, grabbed her book bag, and attacked the teacher.
Well, where were the police? Where were the parapros?
In a statement, Normandy Schools said, "We have launched an internal investigation to gather all the necessary facts surrounding the incident, and appropriate actions will be taken based on findings of these investigations."
Teaching is one of the most difficult jobs in the world.
Education consultant Ian Buchanan is a former principal in Normandy Schools.
What does a teacher do? Let's say hypothetically a student swings at you. What's the ideal response?
There are a number of techniques that many teachers have been trained to use and execute. And so I think first is to resist that first reaction to response in a defensive way. I definitely wouldn't want it to be an eye for an eye, so to speak, or a tit for a tat. At the same time, just in case you didn't know, teachers are human beings. And so we can talk about all of this theory about what is supposed to happen, but when you're confronted with those situations, who knows what might happen.
Brent Solomon, 5 on your side.
Police tell 5 on your side criminal charges will be sought against the student through the St. Louis County juvenile courts. Loved ones say the teacher is in pain but is expected to be okay.
Clear, calm, and chilly across St. Louis tonight. We have one more quiet day before our next weather alert day.
Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking our next round of rain and snow and the timing of an Arctic blast.
Yeah, we got a lot of things going on in the weather world here over the next few days. Here's the deal. Tonight into tomorrow, relatively quiet around the St. Louis area, taking up to North St. Louis County right now in Florissant. This area will likely be seeing some snow on the ground by this time Friday. Not a lot, but the colder air will certainly be moving in. Right now, it's squally snow weather up across parts of Iowa into northern portions of Illinois, and that will continue to stick to our north. Our system for the weekend is actually right now coming in across California into Nevada, and it will move across the southwest and head towards us. This one, unlike previous systems in the last week or so, has a lot of Arctic air right behind it. That'll be surging in as we head into the weekend. As far as heavier snowfall, 4 or more inches, the probabilities really are much farther north of St. Louis for that. We may get an inch or two out of this system as we push into Friday afternoon. The timing on that could be a problem, though. So rain to snow on Friday. Winds are really going to get gusty. Could see some 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts Friday evening. Limited snowfall, but the Arctic surge will lead to sub-zero low temperatures. By early Monday morning, wind chills will be well below zero, and another chance of snow on Sunday. More on all of this in just about 15 minutes, Mike.
And stay on top of our changing forecast. When we're not on the air, you can stream the latest Weather First forecast and our newscast on 5+. It's free to download on your Roku, Fire, or Apple TV. We can also send the forecast straight to your phone. Just text the word weather to 314-425-5355.
Tonight, we are still following a developing story in St. Charles. Just hours ago, police say 2 men were shot during an attempted robbery near Moore Avenue and Transit Street. That's in the city's Frenchtown area. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend is live outside the St. Charles Police Department with the latest on this.
Kelly, police are still talking to that man that they took into custody. Now, we're also told that the shooting victims are expected to survive. Here's much more on what I learned just a few hours ago.
There were many people who called us.
Neighbors called St. Charles police after multiple gunshots rang out shortly after 1:30 Wednesday afternoon in the Frenchtown area. 2 guys had been shot. Police found a 29-year-old St. Louis man in an alley in the 200 block of Transit Street. He suffered gunshot wounds to his legs, his left hand, and shoulder. Officers also located a 23-year-old man from St. Charles inside a house on the same street with a wound to his leg.
We don't know the relationship between these people. That's something that we're working on.
Tips came in that another man was seen running from the scene. Officers searched dumpsters, canvassed the area, and found that man in the 2000 block of nearby Moore Avenue. They called him a person of interest in the shooting that left more than a dozen evidence markers on Transit and the street blocked off for several hours.
Well, initial investigation is saying that it could possibly be an attempted robbery. So we have responded to this residence in the past. It's a rental, so we're not sure if those prior calls are involving the people who are living there currently. That's something that we're looking into.
Now, police also found a gun at that scene. They're asking anyone with any information to call the St. Charles Police Department. Live in St. Charles, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Tonight, prosecutors have filed carjacking and robbery charges against the man accused of stealing a car from a St. Charles County gas station and later crashing that stolen SUV into a gas pump in Overland. Investigators say Demetrius Dent stole the SUV from the Quick Trip in Weldon Spring while the driver was filling up his tires. An officer later spotted the stolen SUV on 364 and followed it into St. Louis County. Dent was arrested after hitting several other cars near Page and Woodson and crashing into the gas pump and causing a fire.
New developments tonight in the mysterious disappearance of a Berkeley woman and her 3-year-old daughter. We first told you about Michaela and Malaya Wickerson back in August, weeks after their family last heard from them. Tonight, police say their disappearance is likely connected to 4 other missing persons cases.
And investigators believe all of them have joined a spiritual cult. Laura Barcheski talked with more family members tonight who are all still hoping for the safe return of their loved ones.
Mike and Kelly, most of the parents we talked with just want to know their loved ones are okay as they lost all communication with them months ago.
Berkeley police say they started looking into the disappearance of these 6 people on August 12th last year. Michaela and her 3-year-old daughter Malaya Wickerson, Michaela Thompson, Garielle German, and her 3-year-old son Ashton Mitchell and Naaman Williams. Police say they were living in a rental home near Lambert International Airport on Graham Lane and had joined a cult following the teachings of Rashad Jamal, who is currently in prison for other crimes in Georgia. Neighbor Carrie Roberts says she saw strange things happening at the house, including meditations outside, sometimes without clothes, and originally it was only the Wickersons who lived there.
All of a sudden she had new company to move in, and then things started changing. After that, she wasn't Michaela no more.
They were last seen at the Quality Inn in Florissant. Wickerson's mother, Cartisha Morgan, says her daughter was mentally ill and they were concerned about her for a while.
She was probably suffering from postpartum depression, meeting these people online, and they just preyed on her weakness.
German's mom, Shalita Gibson, says her daughter and grandson left their hometown in Mississippi very suddenly, and she remembers vividly trying to get her to stay.
And I said, you don't know where you're going. I just got a bad feeling about this. Something just doesn't sit right with my spirit. You need to rethink this.
Investigators say behaviors of Jamal's followers include changing their name to a spiritual god or goddess, going off the grid, and entirely disconnecting from loved ones. Dr. Stephen Hassan, who helps people affected by cults, says all of these things are pretty common in cult recruitment.
People feel like they're chosen and they're special, and They're finally realizing their purpose or their higher nature.
Gibson says German also left a daughter behind, and all these families want is to know their loved ones are safe and someday hope they'll come home.
I would like for her to have a conversation with her daughter, who wakes up at night screaming for her mom, who asks why her mom isn't here.
Anyone with information is urged to call the Berkeley Police Department at 314-524-3311. Kelly.
Thanks, Laura. Tonight, we are hearing from the Clayton School District about plans to buy the former Caleres headquarters in downtown Clayton. The multi-million-dollar property is next to the high school. Now the district is getting pushback from residents and even former mayors of the city. Concerned the city could lose critical tax revenue and even a potential increase in taxes. In a letter to residents, the school board admitted its lack of transparency and says it could have done better at communicating its intentions. The president of the Clayton Condo Building Association says he does not like the deal.
The taxes in the future would absolutely have to go up because the lack of that money from the development would not be in the revenue budget, but the expenses of running the school district would continue to grow, and the expenses of running the city, I know, are growing.
A spokesperson for the Clayton School District says they have not announced when they'll close on the property and are still in the due diligence phase. The next school board meeting is a week from today.
A live look now at St. Louis Lambert International Airport, where a study is underway tonight to determine if 2 terminals are not better than 1. The FAA has started its environmental assessment of the plan to consolidate Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. This is a necessary step before a revamp project can move forward to the design and construction phases. The plan would bring all airlines into the historic Terminal 1, add thousands of parking spots and spaces for restaurants and retail.
Getting financially fit in the new year.
It's really good just to start small and start building those financial muscles.
Tonight, the experts weigh in on how you can build wealth while making ends meet. Up in arms over the Cardinals' off-season spending. Sports director Frank Cusimano gives his take on why the DeWitts need to come to the plate with their checkbooks.
Weather first, weather alert days, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. Lots to talk about as the Arctic air surges our way. We'll see you at 6 minutes.
With just 5 days to go until the Iowa caucus, a major shakeup tonight in the race for the Republican nomination for president. Former New Jersey Governor Christie announced he's dropping out.
He's been a consistent critic of former President Donald Trump, who took part in a televised town hall in Iowa tonight. Former President Trump addressed a hot mic moment before Christie that he had before announcing he was talking about Nikki Haley's chances in the race.
He had a hot mic where he was talking to somebody about the weather, and he happened to say that she doesn't have what it takes. She'll be creamed in the election. And I mean, I know her very well, and I happen to believe that Chris Christie is right. That's one of the few things he's been right about, actually.
Also in Iowa tonight, Haley and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who appear to be battling for second place, participated in a one-on-one debate.
When you look at Donald Trump, I have said, I think he was the right president at the right time. I agree with a lot of his policies, but his way is not my way. I don't have vengeance.
Donald Trump's running to pursue his issues. Nikki Haley's running to pursue her donors' issues. I'm running to pursue your issues.
Polls show Trump leads both Haley and DeSantis in Iowa by as much as 30 points.
Alaska Airlines is grounding all flights on Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes until Saturday. This while the airline waits on new instructions from Boeing on how to inspect and fix the planes. The move comes after last week's mid-flight incident where a door plug blew off. Boeing CEO says the company needs to take responsibility for the mistakes made.
Well, with a new year, people often think of getting physically healthy.
But after last year's high inflation, rising interest rates, and economic uncertainty, financial fitness is top of mind. In tonight's Making Ends Meet, Michelle Lee has advice from the experts on sticking to your financial goals.
If you're spent in more ways than one from the holidays, now's a good time to reset your finances, especially for the long term.
Because there's no guarantee in life, right? But we're going to do everything we can to make sure to put some more income in place, which gives you the freedom to spend for the holidays, gives you freedom to go on trips and enjoy your life.
Start with achievable goals. The easiest is knowing what's coming in and what's going out. Then set your priorities in bite sizes.
A lot of people, much like fitness, want to get into the best shape of their lives starting in the new year. And just like financially speaking, it doesn't work that way. So it's really good just to start small and start building those financial muscles.
Consider making a weekly appointment with yourself to check in on your spending and saving. Think about goals like building up an emergency fund or saving for a big purchase like a dream vacation or a down payment on a house. Say you start with $20 in a high-yield savings account, earning 5% interest, and you add $20 a week. In a year, you'll have saved more than $1,000. In 5 years, you'll have close to $6,000. And in a decade, you'll have more than $13K. And also look longer term as well.
So now's a good time to take a look at your budget, to take a look at the contributions that you're making, either for your retirement savings or for charitable contributions. One thing that everybody needs to be doing is taking a look at their tax situation. I think that's key. We have a couple years left of where we know the tax code is now, which is for the next 2 years.
And it never hurts to ask, how can I be more intentional? What do I need? What brings me joy? And how can I get it without racking up debt? Starting now can set you up for a great 2024 and even for a path to retirement.
I think that's a big one for a lot of people. Obviously, I think saving more money is always good, and we can spend hours talking about how to save more.
And you know, you don't have to do any of this alone. You can find an accountability partner, whether that's a family member, a friend, or a financial advisor. And take note, some financial advisors don't charge you depending on the services that you need. Back to you.
Caught on camera, a tornado ripping through the heart of a small town in South Carolina. The EF2 twister, with winds of 125 miles per hour, toppled buildings and sent bricks raining down onto the street in Bamberg. There are no reports of injuries, though. At least 4 deaths are being blamed on last night's violent weather in the South.
Tonight, 1 person is dead. 3 others are recovering after an avalanche at a California ski resort near Lake Tahoe. The 3 injured had to be dug out of the snow. It happened during a winter storm warning with as much as 2 feet of snow in the forecast.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with the Weather First forecast. No worries of avalanches here in St. Louis, but we might get a little snow, and we know we're going to get a lot of cold.
We're going to get a lot of cold here heading into the weekend and into early next week. And so we're starting tonight with that extended forecast looking into the weekend. Tomorrow's fine, no problems tomorrow. But tomorrow night into Friday, we will be bringing in rain, and then Friday, a transition over to snow. Friday is your first weather alert day. And then we have a second on Sunday, a third on Monday, as we have the cold air surging in here and maybe even a little more snow to go along with that on Sunday. Quiet tonight up in North St. Louis County in Florissant. Over at the airport, delays, we're going to start seeing those build over the next couple of days as that system to our west works our way. Right now, temperatures are not dropping much because we have a system sliding by to our north, a partly cloudy sky. That, along with a bit of a breeze out of the south, is keeping our temperatures above average. 40 degrees right now, 44 was the high, 31 the low today. That ends up being above average. We're going to drop back into the low and mid 30s with that partly cloudy sky through the overnight hours. So not a lot of problems tonight. Tomorrow's a quiet day. Clouds are on the increase back into the mid 40s. Enjoy it tomorrow because the changes are really going to race in here heading into the weekend. So the system sliding by to our north right now that's keeping us mild. It's producing some bursts of snow across Iowa, northern Illinois into Wisconsin. That's staying to our north, not an issue for us at all. This is our system for the weekend coming into the west coast. It's going to dig into the southwest and then drag this Arctic air, which is up over Canada now, into the lower 48, brings it right into the bi-state region as we head into Friday night, moving into Saturday, Sunday, on into early next week. Now, the chances of any heavier snow for the next few days, that's well to our north. We'll get some snow in the area here as we go into Friday afternoon, early Friday evening, but the chances for 4 or more inches of snow much higher farther to the north and west where that colder air is. So windy conditions developing Friday. It's wet in the morning, Midday into the afternoon, cold air starts wrapping around. We'll see that changeover to some wet snow. We'll also be seeing the winds increase as we head into Friday evening. So rain to snow, some light accumulations. The timing could impact the Friday evening rush hour, and as temperatures drop to around freezing and below, perhaps slick spots develop. Plus, we have the strong winds bringing in bitterly cold temperatures. Maybe an inch or two of snow for St. Louis. There's a better chance to see 2 or more inches farther north and west of St. Louis. But this may be the bigger story, the winds. You thought it was windy last night? So we get into this storm system tomorrow night, and winds are gusting 50 to 55 miles per hour Friday night into early Saturday. So a period of snow, strong winds. That's why we have our alert day for Friday. And again, not only Friday, but Sunday and Monday. We go into Saturday, it's cold. We're only in the 20s for highs on Saturday. Sunday, barely into the double digits in some spots, and we could see some light snow sliding by to the south of St. Louis. Will it accumulate? Well, there's a chance we'll get some lighter accumulations, maybe an inch or two, but it's all about the cold air Sunday into Monday, and that breeze doesn't stop either. Monday morning, wind chills are likely to be 10 to 20 degrees below zero, with the actual temperature right
freezing
below zero.
pipes, something to worry about.
Freezing pipes, you know, and people.
Right.
Take care of our folks.
And pets, too.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Scott. Sports is next.
A billionaire was screaming at the Billiken game. Jordan Binnington is calling out Justin Bieber, and I'm calling out the Cardinals. We'll be right back.
This 5 on Your Side Sports Report is sponsored by Telly Tire and Auto Centers, driving your way since 1942.
Last year, we profiled on Sports Plus this Billiken shooter, Gibson Jimerson. We wanted to show you what it takes to be elite. He showed us 500 to 1,000 shots a day. He's never had a tan in his life because the sun doesn't shine in the gym. Well, he was shining tonight at Shavitz against St. Joe's. A nice crowd of 6,200 on hand, and they saw the Billikens go down by 20 in the first half. But the Billikens scrapped back. Jimerson on the wing. He shaves the lead to just 1, and Dr. Shavitz was going crazy. SLU had 16 assists tonight. Dowger, Jimerson again. Billikens led by 2. And you know where we are going next. Jimerson, 6 threes in the second half, 7 for the game, 27 total points. Biggest play of the game, under a minute to go. Jimerson to Brad Ezewiro with feeling. St. Joe's actually had a chance to tie. It won't fall. SLU wins a heartstopper, 88-85. Coach, about Jimerson, please.
He can make shots. He got hot. He knew when to take them. He made tough ones. And a lot of them came off an assist, which was great. So he did a lot of things well. But, yeah, shooting performance was a great one here in Schaefer's Arena.
Jordan Binnington has had a pretty good season, and he's been spectacular the last 2 games. 54 saves on 56 shots. He will play tomorrow night against the Rangers. Today at practice, he was involved in kind of a new fun competition where each player gets 2 shots against him. Now, earlier in the day, he had a fun tweet trying to resurrect the challenge of Justin Bieber scoring a goal off him with 10 shots. Keep in mind, getting Binner's name out there would maybe get him some more votes from fans for the All-Star game in his hometown of Toronto.
It's on. You know, I know he's been skating and training for the event, so we'll see what comes of it.
I mean, he grew up in Canada, so it was he probably played a little bit, whether it was on outdoor rinks or whatever. But I don't know. Benner's pretty stone cold. I don't know. I can barely score on him, so.
I don't know Justin Bieber or his skill level in hockey, but I'm going to have to go with Benner there. It could take a little while. We might be here all day.
Join us Sunday night for Sports Plus. It's a night with the MVPs. I'll sit down with David Freese and David Eckstein. Big news out of Alabama. Nick Saban has decided to step down. Finally tonight, a confession. I really respect the job the DeWitt family has done with the Cardinals. They took over in 1996, and since then, with the exception of last year, it's been quite a ride. And let's face it, the standards for owners around here after Bidwell and Kroenke have not been real high. But I read this comment the other day by Bill III. We are making a pretty big push by increasing our payroll and having revenues somewhat challenged. It's actually quite a commitment. Is there a little more room there? It depends on the deal, end quote. Here's my take. If you're worth $5 billion, you can find a little more room there. There's no chance this team wins a world championship with this roster. Go a little more. Find a starter to go with Sonny Gray, and you can win in the postseason with two of those types of pitchers. After all, the fans came out and you drew $3.2 million for a last place team last year. You can find a little more. That's frankly speaking for tonight. Mike and Kelly, back to you.
Schnucks is putting a stop to stealing spirits. Why a driver's license isn't the only thing you need to buy alcohol.
Well, Schnucks is cracking down on theft from the liquor aisle. Some of the alcohol brands targeted by thieves are now locked up in a glass cabinet. Customers can access through a code texted to their phone. The anti-theft technology is now being used in about 40 Schnucks stores. There you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Start your day with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.